Welcome to Township News. This section of Township News is called the Justice Inquiry, where you ask questions and we do our best to find you the answers. Today in this episode, we're going to not only take a look at what is going on in Groveland, but we're going to take a look at the politics. Now, a while back, we received a call. After I did an interview with Walker, I received a call. And we're going to take a look at both the call and the incident, which later on I'll describe to you what things were said, what the responses was, and what I feel. And then, of course, we're going to define some things. But let's get ready to take a look at the interview. Interview in which the lady on the phone said Walker, no doubt, did not apologize to Mrs. Wilson. Now, of course, I've had my instance with Walker, and I've had some things said to me. He's called me an idiot. I dealt with that. But we're going to also understand that I did stand up for a gentleman who was being bullied and intimidated. And that's something we can't let go on. Any form of intimidation and bully, you do have your First Amendment rights to state your opinion. Whether you're at City Hall or whether you're on the street, it's your right to state your opinion. And nobody should have to go through what this woman went through. It is a shame. But first, let's go to the interview. Let's really see exactly what happened. The interview. Walker, interviewed by AC Justice. I'm a man, but at the same token, if I'm wrong, I'm quick to go to that person and apologize. If you get out of line up there and you say something that's not becoming of that scene, are you the kind that will pull that person to the side or publicly apologize and say, I'm sorry for calling your name, or I'm sorry because the facts didn't add up? No matter if the person who you're fighting for is a friend, no matter who they are to you, can you put that to the side?
Absolutely.
And move forward?
I am the kind of person, and I've done it in my personal life, I've done it at my ministry. If I am wrong, I will not only apologize to that person, but I'm not too big that I can't apologize openly.
Because that's back. Now you've seen the video, and now we're going to go to the incident that happened. To the young lady that called in, no, there was no apology. Now this is one of the most shameful events that, to me, a pastor of a congregation can do. And we'll talk about that later on in the show. But to intimidate or bully or destroy somebody's character by calling them names, I don't know what else to say. Let's go to the video and really have a look. And then please pay attention to the words up top. And then also listen, because there was a lot of noise in the background and we did our best to get it out of there. So if you can, take a look at the video. And then at the ending, take a look at the remarks. There has been men that I've had view the tape, and they said had that happened to their woman, it might have turned out differently. Pastor Walker in action. Let's take a look at it.
Excuse me? I'm racist? Really? I don't like my tone either. I'm racist. You hear this? I'm racist. Did you know that?
I will call you tomorrow.
You're a witch? I'm a witch?
Good night. You beat me at all. Good night. You don't want this argument.
I'm not afraid of you. I'm not afraid of anyone.
All right, guys. Trust me. You got the right one.
Oh, I don't need you. I mean, it's fine.
Now that you've seen the video, of course, we're going to do a couple of interviews to get a perspective from a woman. I must say, on my part, and it is my opinion, to define a pastor, to define a man, and to define the characteristics of a child, that's what we're going to be doing later on. This kind of behavior of intimidation is wrong. And I don't care how much you want to support somebody like this or say that they had good intentions. Even if you call it a mistake is dropping the glass, bumping into somebody, running into an accident. That is a mistake. But when you intentionally do it, it comes from this is who you are, this is your behavior, and it's done intentionally. which means you made a choice in that decision to do this, to act this way. And if we don't turn around and stop it now, it's going to continue trickling down. Now, we already know that it's out there anyway. The war on the press as well as the war on women. And this is a disgrace. Men of honor, if you have honor, this shouldn't be allowed. If you see this kind of abuse on a woman, it should not be allowed. We have to stand up and call this thing for what it is. It's abuse. Anytime anybody, man or woman, stands up in a public meeting and state their opinion, it's their First Amendment rights. And to have that where you intimidated, got to worry about whether or not if you're going to go back up there, is it even worth you going back up there? First of all, if you look at it, the name calling. Name calling alone, if somebody don't know you and you getting called a racist or witch, let's go with racist first. Person who don't know you is going to think that. They're going to look at your appearance and say, must be true, I don't know him. Therefore, you're destroying their character. Then they're going to turn around and call you a witch. Witch, factual check. I ain't see no brooms that she rode in on, which means that's a lie. So you called her outside of a name. Now comes the intimidation. And this is what's upsetting to me. It's disgusting when a man going to turn around and almost say, I have no problem beating you down. Because that's what it says. Anytime you're challenged like that, it's saying to the other person, why don't you just bring it? I don't have a problem beating you down. You don't want none of this. Little things like that means that you ain't got a problem fighting the person who you're saying it to. Or in that case, beating somebody down. Now, had she been a weaker woman, she might not have came to another city hall meeting and stood up for her rights because she would have been feared. Now, the police officer that you saw escorting her out of there, she was already on her way out because she actually thought it was the end of the meeting. I am happy to see that he came back there just in case something had happened. And I appreciate it. So to the officer, we thank you. Now let's get back on the definition of what a man is and a pastor is. A pastor is a leader of the community, supposed to be the pillar of the community, supposed to stand up, and in the Bible it says, love thy brother as thyself. So how can you do this? Not unless in the Bible, maybe you have the book, but you didn't practically read it. Now I'm going to call this thing down the middle. The fact is, you can't possibly do this kind of behavior and call yourself that. A lady called me on the phone and says, look, you and your family is cursed if you were to put this out because he's a pastor. If someone don't define themselves and behavior as a pastor, we can't call them. It's a shame that somebody can get a title and you believe that's who they are. You can have all the titles in the world. That don't mean that you represent that person. When it comes to a man, that means you honor your family and you love your wife and your family. I say it again, more than you love yourself. So to see this done, we're going to take an interview with a radio host, Socialist Shonda. We're going to look at how another perspective on this, and then we're going to come right back. Let's go to the video clip as an interview with AC Justice, Socialist Shonda. Disrespect. There's no doubt about it. We have to respect people. And our pastors should know that from the get-go. And there's no need to go no further with it. I am opposed to the whole situation and ashamed of it. It's not even right. No matter how you want to clip it. I've had people call me up and say, well, the Wilsons did this, they did that. So that judges, that says it's okay? What did they do? Did they ever call you a name? But you decided that you needed to do this. We get ready to go to the streets on this, and we're going to have that interview. And then we're going to come right back. And now, I want you also to know, I am a professional, so I will still interview, whether it's George Rosario, whether it's James Smith, who you will see at the end on what they lied about, saying it was a private event and it turned out to be a community event, his running mate, and then of course, we're going to finish this thing off with Walker. I can't call him a pastor because behavior doesn't define what a pastor is. And we need to call people out on what they are and what they're not doing. Behavior dictates your character. And if you can't get that in your head, then it's a shame. Because people are going to look at your behavior as well as looking at you. Now let's go on to this next clip. Interview, Socialist Shonda. JAPEC will be right back.